and welcome to the House. I appreciate you coming here to take time to listen to this extremely important matter with respect to public service pensions. The one thing I can say, since 1995, the messing and changes being made to public service pensions has rendered the public service the least attractive job in the country. But today I want to specifically speak about those who are in uniform and who generally are part of an accelerated pension scheme. The post-95 pension is the one I'm concerned about today, the post-95 and pre-2013 pension. The pension causes huge problems for members of Garda Síochána, Defence Forces, prison officers, firefighters, etc. In all, there are 37,000 members who are affected by this. Let's look at the case of a Garda who's retiring on a post-95 full pension. Having paid all of his or her contributions, he or she will receive a pension from two sources. Approximately 2/3 of the pension is paid directly into his or her bank account from the Justice budget, while the remaining third comes by way of an indirect payment known as a supplementary pension, and it's paid from the Department of Social Protection. They both amount to roughly 50% or a specific number of 80ths of the person's service. While the post-95 members reach the state retirement age, the supplementary portion of the pension is withdrawn and the member moves on to the contributory old age pension, and again the overall income is not in any way affected. However, a post-95 member of Garda Síochána with full contribution paid has no option but to sign on at the Department of Social Protection for job seekers' benefit in order to receive his or her supplementary pension. This is the only way they can receive that supplementary payment. In signing on at the Department of Social Protection, this involves the members making a false declaration. And that false declaration, the Public Expenditure and Reform have been aware of for some time. The Garda in question must sign on saying they are ready and willing to take on work, when in fact they're not. If the member refuses to sign this declaration because he or she feels that it's a breach of the ethics that they have upheld all their lives, the Department of Social Protection issue a letter saying that you have no entitlement to job seekers' benefit as you're unavailable for work. When the member submits the letter and requests supplementary pension, it's refused on the grounds that it can only be granted by way of job seekers' benefit. So the retired member either loses out on the supplementary or lies and says that they are available for work. This has happened, so retired members who are left with no choice after 40 years service, 40 years of upholding the truth, Minister, and upholding ethics, they must state and must sign a false declaration, which is in blatant breach of everything they've held close to themselves in their lives. There is no reason why a retired member could not be given an option on retirement. If they do not wish to engage in work after retirement, they should simply have their supplementary pension paid directly into their bank account alongside their Garda pension. Those who wish to continue working after retirement, that's a different ballgame. They can take on work and they can deal with the Department of Social Protection, for example, if they're engaged in casual work or something like that. In particular, a member of the Garda Síochána, under the present system, retired members have to stand in a post office queue. Just imagine this, Minister. A Garda, after 40 years service, standing in a post office queue, waiting to sign on. In my opinion, it's highly insulting and most degrading part of this entire fiasco. They are not job seekers, they are proud retired members of Garda Síochána, soldiers, firefighters, prison officers. I'm aware of one Garda who was shot in the line of duty, and today he stands in a dole queue in order to get his job seekers' benefit. I know of another retired member in Cork who stood in a dole queue in a post office. At the same time in the queue were 3 people that this Garda had recently served warrants on. And I'm just wondering, Minister, how can the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform not immediately see the moral injustice of this? Senator. Thank you. I'm coming to an end now. It's utterly astounding that this would take place. So, Minister, I know that this has been under review for quite some time. We really need an answer straight away. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Minister, you have
4 minutes to respond.
Thank you, and thank you, Senator Craughwell, for bringing this important matter to the House. And as you know, Minister Paschal Donohoe has overall policy responsibility in relation to public service occupational pension schemes payable to retired public servants. For all new entrants to the public service, on or after the 6th of April 1995, which was the introduction of full social insurance for public servants who now pay Class A PRSI, and before the 1st of January 2013, which was the introduction of the single public service pension scheme, their pension is integrated. An integrated pension scheme looks at the state pension as part of the total pension package promised to employees on retirement. And one reason for this is that both employers and employees make PRSI contributions, and these in turn entitle scheme members to social insurance benefits, including the state pension contributory. Integration is used as a means of taking into account the benefits payable under the social welfare system, and that's to calculate the amount of pension payable from a pension scheme so that the combined pension from both sources, the state pension and the occupational pension, is at the level being aimed at in the scheme's design, but also the level of contributions payable by the employee towards the cost of their occupational pension, so that the contributions payable to an occupational pension scheme reflect the offset from scheme benefits to allow for the state pension. So typically, this is achieved by calculating pension benefits based on this lower pensionable salary at retirement. And therefore, the pension payments of a post-95 public servant comprise of 3 components. First is a public service occupational pension, which is payable by the public service employer. Secondly, there's a social insurance benefit, a state pension contributory, SPC, job seekers benefit, and so on, payable subject to eligibility by the Department of Social Protection. And lastly, there is, where the full rate of SPC is not payable, a supplementary pension equivalent to a non-integrated pension, which is payable subject to eligibility by the public service employer. Where a public servant does not qualify for the state pension contributory or qualifies for social insurance benefit at less than the value of the state pension contributory, they may be entitled to an occupational supplementary pension subject to eligibility criteria. And in addition, the grant of an occupational supplementary pension is conditional upon a number of conditions. And there are 3 of those. The first is that the retired public servant is not in paid employment. The second is that the retired public servant, due to no fault of their own, fails to qualify for social insurance benefit or qualifies for a benefit at less than the value of the SPC. And lastly, that the retired public servant must have reached minimum pension age or retired on grounds of ill health. The second condition is important to ensure no duplication of payments from public funds. To verify this condition, prior to the occupation of the occupational supplementary pension, a retired public servant must engage with the Department of Social Protection and obtain proof that they have exhausted any relevant benefits for which they may be eligible under the social insurance scheme. A significant number of occupational pension schemes, both private and public sector, make an allowance for the state pension when providing a pension from their pension scheme. The Department of Public Expenditure, NDP Delivery and Reform is fully aware that the requirement to engage with the Department of Social Protection as part of the process for qualifying for the payment of an occupational supplementary pension is presenting difficulties for individuals and also at intro offices. My officials are in the process of reviewing the processes involved, and they've been engaging with key stakeholders with a view to establishing if a more efficient and streamlined approach is possible.
Senator Craughwell.
Minister, I want to thank you for that comprehensive reply. Look, I mean, whether we like it or not, the mucking about that has taken place with state pensions, and I will be bringing forward another commencement matter on the post-2013 pension, which is now effectively, I'm hearing from public services servants in all aspects of public life that they no longer want to work on the public service. The Single Pension Act is detrimental to them, but that's for another day. Today, I think, Minister, I know you. You do not want former members of the Gardaí standing out in the dole queue in Dunleary lying that they're available for work when they're not. In fact, we should kick in the supplementary straight away. If somebody says they do not want to work, they should not have to go to the Department of Social Welfare. The third element of the pension should kick in straight away, and they're given the full supplementary pension without having to go to the Department of Social Welfare. And I would ask you, you have said this morning your officials are looking at it. I wonder, could we have an answer as quickly as possible? I think it's grossly unfair to members who have served this country in uniform loyally down through the years. And I know, Minister, you inherited this. The guys who brought this in all walked off with their full public service pensions, having decimated the rest of us who serve in public service.
Thank you, Senator. Minister, would you like to respond?
Thank you. Senator, I think that retired members of Garda Síochána and the Defence Forces are entitled not just to respect from the state, but to great gratitude for what they've done, and they should always be treated with dignity in the way that they're dealing with the state after that. And I think that Minister Donoghue has acknowledged that there is a problem, that it is presenting difficulties, the interaction with the Department of Social Protection, and that the attendance at intro offices, and that he's trying to find a way through that. So he's acknowledging that there is an issue here. Even if the total amount of money stays the same one way or the other, it's the manner in which people are treated and the manner in which they're held. People's dignity should always be respected, and particularly as they're later on in their life, and their contribution, often in very dangerous circumstances, being a member of Garda Síochána or in the Defence Forces, puts you at risk and subjects you to a lot of abuse. And I think that at the end of your career, you should be treated with dignity, and I absolutely respect that. And I believe that there is a process going on. I think that Minister Donoghue is a man of honour, and I think he's working on this. And I will keep you up to date, and I'll ask him to keep you up to date on the progress on that work. Thank you.